Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds, starring Brad Pitt, was the top movie at the box office this weekend. The Weinstein Company took in nearly $38 million in ticket sales. It's the first Weinstein film to open at #1 this year and one of the highest-grossing openings ever for a World War II movie. Sony's District 9 brought in about $19 million in its second week. Paramount's G.I. Joe was third with $12.5 million, followed by Warner Brothers' The Time Traveler's Wife and Sony's Julie and Julia.
Well, Inglourious Basterds also brought in nearly $30 million overseas, where it was distributed by Universal. Now, how significant is this win to the Weinstein brothers and their future? Joining us now to discuss is Bloomberg's Vera Gibbons. Vera, how surprising are the numbers?
Very surprising, Laura. You know, they only expected it to bring in 15 to 20 million over the weekend. Well over that. I spoke to Tom O'Neill yesterday from In Touch Weekly. He tells me it's remarkable for an R-rated film that has no appeal to the teenage girls, which is a big slice of the movie market, to pull these kinds of numbers. Also, this is a violent film. It's very long, goes over 2 hours. Second half of August is typically slow for the movie business, and American war movies don't usually play well overseas. So this movie defied all odds. Tarantino has a lot of fans. The fan base came out, and despite the sort of the mixed reviews that it got, solid word of mouth from people who saw it. So people went, and it did very, very well.
So the movie may have brought in $65 million worldwide, but how expensive was it to make?
That's a good point. I mean, it was very expensive, about $70 million to make. Again, something that critics have griped about. The ideal scenario is for a film to triple its opening weekend gross. So we're talking $200 million here. So this movie literally demands Pulp Fiction level business just to break even. And critics are telling me it's pretty tough task ahead, factoring not only the cost, but also a probable drop-off that's expected this weekend and beyond. Nevertheless, very good numbers for the Weinsteins and for Universal, which has had a very tough summer at the box office. They're splitting, of course, the film's budget and will evenly divide the revenue as well.
So are the critics going to stop blasting the Weinsteins now?
That's the hope, right? I mean, Jeff Wells, who's a blogger, does all sorts of movie blogging. He tells me that the Weinsteins have won themselves a breather. He's saying not only does this ease their fears of another flop, but it should help keep the critics at the bay. Many of them have been saying, oh, they've gotten off track, Bob and Harvey. They've lost their hunger. They've lost their appetite. They got into all these silly ventures, that they took their eye off the ball, and they've been questioning the viability of the company. So Harvey has the last laugh here.
So what else do they have in the pipeline? What can we look forward to? Can they ride this momentum?
Yeah, well, they have high hopes for Halloween 2. The Road is also coming out, and Harvey's got this big musical, 9, which is directed by Rob Marshall and stars all sorts of Hollywood heavyweights, Penelope Cruz, Daniel Day-Lewis, Nicole Kidman. I'd be remiss also if I didn't mention Project Runway. This, of course, is their reality fashion show. Big debut last week, seen in nearly 4 million households. This is the largest for a season opening episode of the series, Laurie. So they could very well ride this momentum out.
Vera Gibbons, thanks for the update.
Thanks.